At the age of 15, Gert Schramm was arrested and imprisoned in Buchenwald for the crime of being mixed race. Gert was born to a white German mother and a black American engineer who was in Germany on a contract. As evidence of race mixing, his own existence was technically illegal. During the Weimar years and World War II, there was a small population of black people in Germany. They were either immigrants from African countries or children of relationships between French African soldiers and German women. In Gert's case, however, he was a child of an African-American man, which was much less common. Under the Nuremberg race laws, meant to target Jews but also targeted other people, black people lost many rights, including their citizenship. Many were forcibly sterilized to prevent race mixing. It is unclear if many were sent to a concentration camp simply for being black, but it was often threatened to those who refused sterilization. The sterilization procedure was often done on children, and their parents were forced to consent. We know black people were not rounded up and sent to camps, and there was no directive to murder them all. Yet, young Gert found himself in Buchenwald in 1944. Gert's father, Jack Brankson, visited him and his mother, Marianne, after his job was finished. In 1941, he was arrested and sent to Auschwitz for the crime of race mixing, and there is no further record of him. Gert was sent to Buchenwald. According to official records, there is no actual reason for his arrest, though his paperwork bears a slur that identified him as mixed race. Different sources claim different things about whether or not he was the only black prisoner. One states he was the youngest of 6, and another says he was always convinced he was the only black person whose race was prosecuted to this extent. He was sentenced to no less than 15 years in the camp. He was grouped in with political prisoners and initially worked in a stone quarry. This job had a very high mortality rate. A communist prisoner decided to protect Gert and moved him to an easier job, where he helped during the infamous roll calls, where prisoners would stand for hours to be counted. Gert stayed at Buchenwald until liberation the next year. He was there as the Americans forced local Germans to tour the camp and see what had happened there. He went back to live with his mother. Eventually, he moved to East Germany, where he held a variety of jobs. He opened a taxi company in 1985 with a fellow survivor of Buchenwald who had protected him. He married and had 4 children. One of his sons now runs the taxi company. He often spoke to groups about his experiences and was on Buchenwald's Prisoners Advisory Board. By the time he passed in 2016, he was a grandfather and great-grandfather.